Hey guys, welcome back to the Moms That Read YouTube channel. I'm Kaylee, one third of the Moms That Read podcast, and we're going to chat about all of the books that I read in June. June was a pretty dang good reading month for me. I read 14 books, which is a lot more than I typically read, but I was also on the road a lot. We went on vacation and then I was just in the car a lot, so I got a lot of reading done. I read some top tier books this month, like top tier books. I cannot wait to chat with you guys about them. So let's jump on in to the reviews. So first I read Heartless Hunter and then I read Rebel Witch. Heartless Hunter was actually one of the picks that Mackenzie picked for me in our book club podcast. At the end, we do like a TBR jar and pick. This was my TBR jar pick. I actually had started reading Heartless Hunter about a year and a half ago when it first came out. Or, well, I got it in the book of the month. Um, and I started reading it and got like 4 chapters in and just was not vibing with it. But it was also back before I got super into like fantasy. I had read maybe like Fourth Wing or something, but I wasn't like super into fantasy. So I just put it off, and then I don't know why I never picked it up again. Then I got it in my TBR jar, and I binged this whole entire book. I was obsessed. It is Witch Hunter. The banter is fantastic. Gideon is amazing, and the plot twist in this book was so sad. It had me crying, but I'm very happy I read it. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and I definitely recommend this. Especially, I feel like it's a good beginner fantasy. Rebel Witch. I don't typically read a whole lot of fantasy in a month. I'm more of a romance reader than a fantasy reader. And so I could not stop thinking about this book. And that's how you know the series was good for me, because I just could not stop thinking about this book. So I had to read it next and figure out what happened and how it was going to play out. And that's how I feel like I know it wasn't like overly fantasy, is because I could binge both of them. And I don't typically read fantasy back to back. So good. It was not as good as Heartless Hunter, but the plot twists were still just like fantastic. Gideon is an amazing book boyfriend. I feel like everybody's gonna love him. So I highly recommend you check out these 2 books if you have not read this series already. Then I read All the Missing Pieces by Catherine Cowles. I'm obsessed with Catherine Cowles. This is an easy, yes, you need to read it for me. Um, I think this might be my favorite one she's written. And I think it's one of her more popular ones. It was so good. And I was shocked because I have read like her whole Sparrow Falls series. I'm obsessed. I have it right here. Obsessed with that one. This one actually mentions the MMC from the first book in Sparrow Falls. So I guess it's kind of somehow intertwined a little bit. But this one follows Ridley and Colts. Ridley is a true crime podcaster, and so she goes to different towns and tries to figure out open cases, and she's figured out a couple of them, but then she goes to this small town. She wants to try and figure out one of these crimes where the victim is still alive, and it's the only one she's ever done where the victim is still alive. Turns out Colt is the cop, like the sheriff in the town, and so he makes it a little bit difficult. They are butting heads at first, and um, Ridley has a very specific reason for being a true crime podcaster. It's really good. It kept my attention the whole time. In all of her books, I can never figure out who did it. And it's a romantic suspense. So it's like 50% romance, 50% like thriller book. And that's about the only way I can read thriller books, because I can't just read a straight thriller with the way my anxiety is set up. But give me a good romance subplot and I'm in. All of Catherine Cowles' books are that. So if you have not read a Catherine Cowles book, or you're looking for a good romantic suspense, definitely pick up all the missing pieces. Next, I picked up You, Me, and Forever by Laura Pavlov. If you watched last month's Yes, No, Maybe, you know I went on a bit of a Laura Pavlov binge and binged like 6 of her books. I picked up this one. I think it's her newest one, and it starts a whole new series. I could not get into this one. I don't know what it was about it. Just I was not vibing with this one. So I'm going to say no, just because there's so many other series out by her specifically that I would rather you read than this one. I cannot put my finger on what I did not like. It's just the vibes were not there. You know what I mean? Like it was not vibing with me. So no. Next, I read Only in Your Dreams by Madison Wright. I had read one book by her before. It was Off the Beaten Path, and then I saw this one popped up on my Kindle Unlimited like recommendations, and I think it's the one after Off the Beaten Path. This book follows Finley and Gray. It is a brother's best friend book, and that's mainly why I picked it up, because I've been on a bit of a brother's best friend binge here recently. I don't know why. Do I have an older brother? I surely do not. Am I ever going to experience the brother's best friend thing? No, I'm not, because I am happily married. But I've just been obsessed in eating up brother's best friend. So I saw this book had that, and I will say it is okay. It is not great. If you need something like that's easy to read, not very memorable, but it's still a pretty good time, then go for it. I wouldn't say it's the most well-written book I've ever read, but it was still fun. Gray has been in love with Finley for 15 years, and Finley has just never known. And so it's getting to the point where he kind of wants to move out of town because he's just kind of super obsessed with her and wishes he could have her, and it's not happening. She's not noticing him, and so he just wants to move away to try and find something new. Well, he ends up in the wrong place in the wrong time, and they end up fake dating, which is another one of my favorite tropes. So that's kind of how the ball got rolling. It's really cute. If you need something that's a really good palate cleanser, pick that one up. Then I think I read what is my new favorite series of all time. Of all time. At least romance wise. The Windy City series. I don't know what has taken me so long to pick this book up. I don't know why. I have never picked this series up before, but with all the hype behind Rewind It Back that just came out, I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I need to read this series. So on the way down to the beach, I started reading Mile High on my Kindle, binged 80% of it in my 4-hour trip. I was eating it up. Then that night, the next morning, I finished it. Loved it. I have seen where people say this one is not as good as the rest of the series, and to that I will agree. But it was still really good. I just didn't like the third act breakup in this one. But the rest of it, the vibes were there. And I can see why people are addicted to this series. And so then I went on to binge all of them except for the last one. I have not read the last one yet. But I'm obsessed. Then I read Right Move, Ryan Shea. Let me tell you about Ryan Shea. Ryan Shea is amazing. I cannot pick between these three. Now, I haven't read Rio's book yet, but Ryan Shea is just like that quiet love that like consumes you, and he is top tier. This one was fake dating. It was best friend's sister, or sister's best friend and best friend's brother. So like was eating that up. I love a fake dating trope. That is like one of my top 2 favorite tropes, depending on the day. I am obsessed with a fake dating trope. So this one checked all the boxes. Ryan Shea checked all the boxes. And I was like, there's absolutely no way it can get better than Ryan Shea in this book. Like, there's just no way. And I loved Indy. And I was just like, there's no way it gets better until I read Caught Up. And I'm just going to say, Kai freaking Superman glasses baseball daddy. And Kai Superman glasses baseball daddy came along, and I read this book, and it's Single Dad, which I also am obsessed with. Miller is a baker. I own a bakery. Like, this book, I think it might be my favorite. I'm not quite sure because the brother also came to play, and I was like, there's no way I'm gonna like Isaiah. There's no way I'm gonna like Isaiah because in this book, he's just like this goofy, funny dude who flirts with everybody and sleeps with everybody, if I'm being honest. And I was just like, ew, I don't like that. We don't like Isaiah, you know what I mean? Then he came into this book, and I was like, okay, Isaiah, I see you. I really do. And I like what I'm seeing. Isaiah is the golden retriever. Like, literally waited his whole entire 3 years from the minute he laid eyes on Kennedy. It was her. And I just think their story is so sweet. And the meaning of the day they met and the meaning of the day they accidentally got married. This is a accidental marriage, and then they stay married so she doesn't get fired from her job. I'm obsessed. I loved this one. I really cannot tell you which one was my favorite between these three. I really couldn't. They were all that good. This whole series is absolutely my new favorite top tier romance series. And I haven't even read the last book yet. And I keep putting it off just because I don't want the series to end. So I keep reading other books ahead of it just because I don't want it to end. And I'm so sad that I binged it so fast. So then we read Summer in the City. This just seems like such a fun book to read at the beach, does it not? Yes, it does. It's giving beach vibes. So I took it down to the beach. I DNF'd it at 10%. This is my first DNF of the year. So I'm going to say a hard pass on this one. And I'm really just, okay. I read Lightlark. That was my only other Alex Astor book. I haven't read any of them other than Lightlark, just because Lightlark was 3-star for me. It was okay. It wasn't great. And I know it's written for like younger people. I just wasn't vibing with it. This one, though, I had high hopes for. And it wasn't absolutely not, because when they jump each other's bones, like the minute they meet each other in a bar and start making out, and then he immediately like is repelled and pushes her off and is like, you're a gold digger. It gave me whiplash. I didn't understand any of it. I was so confused. This book confused me, and I only read 10% of it, and I just was not vibing with it. So I stopped reading it. And I don't really do that, but this book was just giving a child wrote it, so that may be me. I'm sorry. But this is going to be a pretty shelf trophy now, because I love the book, love the cover, and it's just going to sit there and look pretty on my shelf. So after Summer in the City failed me, I brought out It's a Love Story, and this was my new beach book, and I'm happy to say that I enjoyed this one a lot. I enjoyed this one a lot more than Summer in the City. It kind of got wet at the pool, so it's a little wonky shaped, but if you've read any of Annabelle Monaghan's books, they're really good summer reads. There's like Summer Romance, Nora Goes Off Script. There's a couple more, and I've read all of them. This one was kind of similar to Nora Goes Off Script, which is probably my least favorite of Annabelle Monaghan's books, and I was kind of scared that it was going to be very similar to Nora Goes Off Script, but it wasn't, and I was very thankful for that. Jane Jackson is like this child star, and kind of how I envisioned her was like the lapping stock of like the show. Like, she used to do the one line. It's kind of like Michelle from Full House. It's kind of what I mean, not lapping stock, but she made people laugh. And I kind of envisioned like Michelle from Full House, like, you got it, dude. Like, she had a one liner kind of like that people always recognized her for. And so she did the show when she was younger with, I forgot his name. Jack. He's a mega pop star now. She's gonna trying to get her project on the big screen. And so her and her workplace rival kind of have to team up together to try and get Jack to write a song for the movie, because she lied and said that she knew Jack, which she did back when she was younger, but she said that she knew him now and could get him to write a song for the movie. That was about the only draw they had to make the movie big. This book is way more romance forward than her other books, and especially more romance forward than Nora Goes Off Script. It kind of took a turn from like strictly workplace to like work vacation ish vibes. So I was happy for that. This is a great by the pool or at the beach read. So definitely recommend this one to pick up if you're doing either one of those. Then I read Gloves Off by Stephanie Archer. I love this whole series. This whole series is such a good hockey series. If you have not read it, go pick it up. I think the first one is Behind the Net, and there's 4 of them. This one is more of a enemies, like true enemies to lovers, and it is a marriage of convenience. In past books, I would definitely say you see their rivalry come to show more. So that's why I would say maybe read the other books before, because Stephanie Archer writes her books in a way to where they're interconnected standalones, but you miss a lot if you read them out of order. So Alexei, which is the MMC in this book, is having problems with his citizenship. He's from Russia. He's from Russia. And so he is trying to find a way to rush his citizenship so his family does not get sent back to Russia. The FMC needs a husband for 3 months to get access to her trust for a cause that is really important to her. So their mutual friend suggested that they get married for a few months, so that way he gets citizenship and she gets access to her trust. But what they thought of each other, like he thought she was a pretentious, spoiled brat who had everything handed to her on a silver platter, and she thought the same thing about him, and that he was just rude with no redeeming qualities, basically. And they both could not have been further from the truth. The banter in this book is fan-freaking-tastic. Alexei is just like this broody hockey player who sits down on the couch and reads his Kindle at night, and I freaking love him. I love this book. This whole series is great, so definitely a yes. So then we read Night in the Mall for our June book club book. We freaking love this one. If you've read One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, which I think is right there, by Rachel Gillig, this book is written by her. It's her newest one, and I'm obsessed. She writes gothic fantasies, and this one was just very deep. The romance was more prevalent in this series, which I was very happy about. It ends on a major cliffhanger. If you have read this and loved it, we have a podcast that we posted about this on Tuesday, and we have lots of thoughts. I gave it 5 stars. I cannot wait for the next one. I need the next one so I can figure out what the heck happens. But this one just came out, so I'm sure the next one's not coming out forever. If you like gothic fantasy, or if you like fantasy but want it more eerie and dark and mysterious, check this one out. I think this would be such a good like October Halloween read. And then the last book I read this month was the introduction to like a new genre for me. I have been trying to get more into audiobooks because I've just never really been an audiobook girly. But I requested a few on my Libby app, and Lights Out came available. And so I was like, why not? I've never done dark romance, but it was like a dark romantic comedy. And one of my really good friends has been trying to get me to read it forever. I was like, why not listen to it? Okay, I loved it. I really did. That was an interesting audiobook for like the beginning of my audiobook journey though. I did love the duet. I think that's what you call it. I don't know. Where the man and the woman like are both narrating it. I definitely think I recommend that, and I enjoy that more rather than just one narrator. That might be why I haven't been super into audiobooks, because I can get into it when a man is talking for a man and a woman is talking for a woman. But like when the woman starts making, or when the man starts making female voices, or when the woman starts making male voices, I just personally cannot get into that. I don't know why. It's just not for me. Maybe eventually when I get deeper into the audiobook world, that might be something I can do. But right now, with me only listening to like 2 or 3 audiobooks ever, it's just not for me. But Lights Out was a fun time. I have been introduced to a new genre of things I did not think I would enjoy or like, but I actually do. And so, if you have any more dark romance recommendations for me, just drop them down in the comments below, because, again, that is the only one I've ever read. I don't really know what other ones to read. My friend told me to try Haunting Adeline. Is that what it is? Haunting Adeline. But I'm a little bit scared of that one. So, if you have any intro to dark romance books that are not Lights Out, and not Butcher and Blackbird, because I already have that one requested on my Libby, then drop those down in the comments below. Because Lights Out was an interesting experience, and one I would like to, experience again. So, that is all the books I read in June. It was a great reading month. I really hope July is just as good, because it is my birthday month. So, we will check back next month to see how good July was. Bye, guys.